All right, welcome back. And today we have another very interesting, thought provoking topic. And today we're going to be talking about method acting and spiritual possession. So, let's get started. So, what is method acting? Method acting is a technique of acting in which an actor aspires to complete emotional identification with a part based on a system evolved by Stanislavski and brought into prominence in the US in the 1930s. Method acting, known formally as the method, is a range of training and rehearsal techniques as formulated by a number of different theater practitioners that seeks to encourage sincere and expressive performances through identifying with, understanding, and experiencing a character's inner motivations and emotions. So to simplify what that means is method acting is basically when you become the character in acting. So you do things that character would do. So in simple terms, method acting is when you basically become the character on and off camera. So why do I think method actors could be invoking or summoning spirits through method acting? For those of you who don't know, there's a guy named Aleister Crowley, and he was a very famous occultist in the early 20th century. And Aleister Crowley is a big influence in Hollywood and also in the music industry, and he wrote a very interesting book called Magic in Theory and Practice. And this is what Aleister Crowley had to say in his book when it comes to invoking or summoning spirits. There are three main methods for invoking any deity. The third method is the dramatic, perhaps the most attractive of all. Certainly it is to the artist's temperament, for it appeals to his imagination through his aesthetic sense. So to put that into simple layman's terms, what that means is you can invoke a spirit or summon a spirit through method acting, through becoming a character. There's also a book called Actors on Acting, and in the book it states a quote that was said by Socrates, which was a famous Greek philosopher, and this is what Socrates said: "In the manner the muse first of all inspires men herself, because they are inspired and possessed. They are simply inspired to utter that which the muse impels them, for not by art or knowledge do you say what you say, but by possession." Wow. So for those of you who don't know what a muse is basically what gives you inspiration, what drives you to do something, what motivates you. And here in the quote, he says at the very end, "For not by art or knowledge do you say what you say, but by possession." The first method actor that I want to take a good look at is Heath Ledger. For those of you who don't know who Heath Ledger is, he is an actor that passed away in 2008 from a drug overdose. And he was in a lot of famous movies such as The Joker and The Dark Knight. The movie that I want to talk about concerning Heath Ledger is The Dark Knight and the character that he played, which is the Joker. So Heath's dedication to this character is possibly the most famous example of method acting in film history. The final months of his life were devoted to the character of the Joker, something that clearly paid off, as this ended up being one of the most famous, critically acclaimed film performances of all time. After his tragic and untimely death, this incredible display of acting earned Heath the extremely rare posthumous Best Actor Academy Award. So this is how Heath Ledger got ready to play the Joker in The Dark Knight, and he's actually one of the most famous examples of method acting. The character of the Joker, which he played in The Dark Knight, is one of the most portrayed ones in film and animation, with legends like Mark Hamill and Jack Nicholson breathing life into the complex comic character. Heath Ledger took it several notches higher, making Joker one of the most iconic movie villains of all time. In a performance that can be hailed as one of the very best of all time, he had turned himself into the character completely and became the anarchist nemesis of Bruce Wayne, challenging him mentally and physically, and making the entire thing look eerily real. But this memorable performance came at a terrible cost. Ledger, a student in the School of Method Acting, locked himself up for weeks in a London hotel room. He actually locked himself up for more than a month, 6 weeks. To explore the several voices in Kirk's, discover the inner darkness, and make himself oblivious to human pain. He came up with the spine-chilling laugh and the famous line, "Why so serious?" The walk, the posture, the cold stare, everything was embodied perfectly. It was so perfect that it almost drove him insane, perhaps being a huge factor in his early demise. Heath Ledger had literally given the performance of a lifetime in The Dark Knight. The Academy Award panel handed the Best Supporting Actor award silently to his evergreen soul. So he really went all out for this role. He really took method acting to a whole new level. He locked himself up in a hotel room, isolated from anybody else for more than a month. And in that hotel room, he would talk to himself. He would sleep deprive himself. In fact, this role made him more of an insomniac than he already was. Per day, he was getting about 2 hours of sleep. So he really took the role of the Joker really far. He'd lock himself in his room for more than a month. He would talk to himself. He would pretend to be this psychotic clown character. And in the end, it made his performance look a little bit too real on screen. So just like Aleister Crowley said, if you want to invoke a deity or spirit, you do it through method acting. And what if when he was playing the Joker on film in The Dark Knight, it wasn't that he was playing a character, but a character was playing him? What if he invoked a spirit that caused him to become spiritually possessed, and that maybe led him to his ultimate demise? Another very famous method actor is Johnny Depp, and there is a very interesting fact about Johnny Depp. He actually does not watch his own movies. In an appearance at The Late Show with David Letterman in 2009, Depp finally revealed why he doesn't see his films. As usual, he didn't feel like talking much about it. Longtime fans even said that he was probably tired of answering such questions at this point. In a way, once my job is done on the film, explained the Sweetie Todd character, it's really none of my business. He laughed a little as the audience did, but immediately returned to a serious look. When Letterman asked if he deliberately doesn't look at the finished product, Depp answered, "Yeah, I stay as far away as I can. I try to stay in as profound a state of ignorance as possible." The host humorously said that he came to the right place then. The initially tense look on the actor's face faded, and he clapped with the audience, who had begun to laugh. It seems like although he has serious reasons for not seeing his movies, he understands that most people just find it funny or odd, so goes along with the jokes. He's not a fan of watching himself. Letterman politely asked if it was all an insecurity thing. Depp calmly answered, "It's just that, I don't like watching myself." That would make sense given that he also starred in many Tim Burton films where he looked like a clown. He's known to have a color phobia or phobia of clowns. So yes, Johnny Depp has a deep fear of clowns. Again, another clown connection. Yeah, Johnny Depp is terribly afraid of clowns. He said that he feels like there is something very oddly evil about them. And I would actually have to agree with Johnny Depp. And if you want to know my reasons, I made a video on this called The Origin of the Jester, where I talk about the connection between demonic entities and the clown-like appearance that we see today. Yeah, just an interesting connection to make. Also, maybe the reason that Johnny Depp does not want to watch himself on film is because, well, I wouldn't want to watch myself get possessed either. So maybe that's the reason him and a lot of other actors don't like watching themselves in movies, because they're not really watching themselves, but a spirit possessing them. And they don't really want to say the real reason why they don't watch themselves to the public, because of course the public doesn't believe in any kind of spirituality. So some of the common effects of method acting are fatigue, fear, anxiety, shame, irritability, sleep deprivation, which is what Heath Ledger went through. He was sleeping at around 2 hours per day. There are also personality changes and a lot of psychotic disorders. And I would argue that all these negative effects from method acting could be from spiritual possession. Just like Aleister Crowley said, if you want to invoke a spirit, one of the ways to do it is through method acting. I don't know, guys. I thought this was very interesting. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we are out.